announce the usual standard declarations of a few industries here, funds for this, boost for infrastructure here and there, but typically now nothing out of the ordinary. Now say for instance, if he had done a major tax exemption for infrastructure, that would have made a big boost to it. Or for example, if he said here's a tax holiday, or here's a MAT exemption for the infrastructure industry, that would have done something totally different. But of course, one must appreciate that he is walking a fiscal tightrope. He can't just be throwing around freebies which would land us in a possibly in a worse situation that we were in the 5 years. But in conclusion, I don't think there were any big ticket announcements, but at the same time it was more of the standard menu which he was reading.
Probably our friends in Doha are waiting for our analysis is very keen to know one factor, like the announcement by the finance minister saying that there will be a tax imposed on the income generated by the NRIs on their asset holdings in other countries. How practical is it, and how it's going to affect the NRIs around the world?
I don't think that there will be a. I think we have probably misunderstood it a little bit during the budget. I very much doubt that there will actually be a tax on the foreign assets. Possibly there might be some sort of a declaration mechanism which we'll have to actually see while going through the finance bill, which should be released in a few minutes. But the present situation is that only residents need to actually declare their foreign assets. So possibly that might be extended to NRIs as well, but I very much doubt the feasibility, because they are totally in a different jurisdiction, and at the most might be earning interest income. The typical NRI would be possibly earning interest income only and the occasional capital gains.
Okay, personal income tax slab, as a finance minister says, actually if somebody actually utilizes the concessions and tax deductions being proposed by the finance minister all through his speech, through different funding and investments and pension schemes and other welfare schemes investments, the basic rate will slab will start from 4.44 lakhs. But looking beyond the tricky announcement and wordings, how much is going to actually benefit the general public in terms of reaching out to the so-called slab of 4.4 lakhs?
The finance minister has actually kept the slabs the same. The only thing that he has actually done is he's given out more benefits in terms of say for instance the exemptions, which are deductions which are actually available for medical insurance and the new pension scheme, so on and so forth. So effectively what he means to say is that a person earning roughly 4.4 lakhs need not pay any tax. This is actually one of the biggest disappointments for the salaried classes, because they were seriously expecting an exemption increase from the 2.5 lakh slab to at least 3 lakhs, and on the wish list of many were around 5 lakhs. But small things he has done which say a salaried employee would appreciate, like say there was a transport allowance of 800 rupees which was fixed back in 98. Now the fuel prices have gone up manyfold in the last 15 years, but no government in the last 15 600, which is again a minuscule amount. Yeah, but
we can't neglect other key sectors like agriculture sector, though there are not much bigger announcements this time. Some reference to the cold chain kind of establishment of such institutions and some funding for it. And there is one announcement which talk about a national fund for supporting the entrepreneurs to come up in support of the Make India movement, and there will be welfare schemes like Atal Pension Yojana, where 50% of the contribution will go from the central government. And I'll come to another thing which looks little tricky and illogical about the PPF unclaimed money. But let's look at it. The Make in India movement, how serious and sincere is the government and the finance minister in saying that there is a strong vision is been stated in the budget?
I don't see anything very out of the ordinary. Once again, I don't see anything very out of the ordinary in the budget. He says he's going to focus on the Make in India policies, but again, the SOPs which are provided in the budget are very limited. So I don't see anything particularly fancy in it. So
another one was a little illogical. It seems like that's my personal opinion. In fact, government is going to claim the unclaimed PPF and the EPF deposits and make it in a fund to initiate a pension scheme for the elders. But it seems whether I am really curious to know whether the government has got the logical right and legal stand on claiming something which is unclaimed by somebody which is somebody else's money, and government taking credit out of the whole fund which rests with the funds run by the government themselves.
That is possibly something that needs to be looked at, but knowing the government, I'm sure they can enact a law for that. If you see, such regulations are still there now. If, for example, in the case of companies, they have the Investor Education and Protection Fund, which draws money out of dividend which has not been paid by companies over a period of 7 years. So the same logic should apply to this.
That is the government incentive which has been claimed by the different corporates, not something which the individuals have invested or the corporates have.
But it is money which is actually due to an individual. It is their right to get it, but the government is appropriating it because it is not being a claim by them. So I'm sure they would enact something to that effect.
I'm wondering, in a country like India, the system of claiming is too difficult and very difficult to operate.
Right.
So it is obvious that funds may be left out, not because people are not very keen to get money. Everybody is interested to claim back money. And looking at the whole situation of the comfort level of the finance minister in rolling out the things called large level of concessions and large amount of fund being invested in welfare schemes and other progressive GDP growth oriented schemes, how big is the comfort level of the finance minister looking at the kind of figures he has spelled out to say that the next 1 year things could be implemented as stated in the budget speech?
That I think is definitely possible, because he is not announced anything ridiculous or out of the ordinary or something that has to be implemented over several years. He is talking about real practical things. For example, the GST implementation which is going to come out which is scheduled to come out on 1st of April 2016. While that is ambitious, it is certainly not impossible. So there are no massive big ticket announcements which leave you in doubt that, okay, is he serious or can this actually be done? I think these proposals can actually be implemented by this government.
Still the stock market is showing its face down. I believe the Sensex is at still a decline, and the Nifty as well. That shows, sir, Mr. Paul Thomas, things are not that well in for the investors, retailers, as well as other types of other segments of investors. Am I right?
Yeah, actually, people's expectations was very high on the budget, especially on Modi's. Actually, this is even though it's a second budget, it's a full-fledged first budget. We can think like that. So, and people take a lot of long positions in equities and futures, so that when all the expectation will not cover in the budget, and whatever the things may be, people want to book profit on the shares they purchase. No, so this is the time that they want to sell the shares, because for the last 2 weeks they may be purchasing shares for post-budget session. So whatever the things may be, they have to book profit after the budget. So usually there is a selling pressure in the stock market, and that you can see in the couple of hours. That may be the reason that the shares are coming down, and the Nifty and Sensex also coming down.
Ruben, it seems the finance ministry is spelling out some schemes of the investment in gold. Maybe a precious metal could possibly be utilized than keeping it idle, individual or personal holdings. He talks about invest in gold. The ETF is already there, but gold coins will be produced within the country than importing from rest of the world. And what is Gordon about it?
Definitely, that is an excellent announcement, because that's the most underutilized asset ever sitting in all our homes.